Hello and welcome to Ride, Roll, and Stroll with AARP Wisconsin. I am Amber Miller, Associate State Director of Community Outreach, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about safe ways that you could travel through city and county of Milwaukee. And I'm very excited to have our three speakers with me today. First is Chris Fox. He's the Mobility Manager with Milwaukee County Transit System. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Amber. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And next is James Davies, Executive Director of Bubbler Bikes. Good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon, Amber. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and Becky Schmidt, who is our Community Programs Coordinator with Milwaukee County Department on Aging. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Amber.
How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Good. So just to give a little background for our guest, we were actually going to be having this event in person a few months back, but since COVID happened, we decided we would still like to do it online because there's a lot of valuable information out there, especially if you want to know about resources and how to still ride the bus during the pandemic and how to rent a bike during this pandemic. If you have any questions during our half-hour program, you can post them below. We will be taking them live during the next half hour. So I'm going to start with Chris, and Becky and James, we're going to see you in a little bit. So Chris, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Milwaukee County Transit System, of course, is crucial for the city and county of Milwaukee for people to get to and from work. So if you could talk a little bit about how the transit system has been affected by COVID-19.
Definitely. And thanks again for having me, Amber. So obviously, with everything, transit's been affected by COVID-19. So there's a lot of procedures and policies that have to change due to the pandemic. Obviously, our ridership has been impacted. We for a while, we weren't charging fares, but currently, masks are required both by passengers and drivers. We are continued collecting fare again at the front door. However, we do encourage people to get off the back door unless they're using a bike or using a mobility device. We are only allowing 10 passengers on each bus at a time, but there are routes that, due to higher boardings, they have added extra buses to those routes to accommodate those extra passengers that may have been passed by. And then the buses that are riding Monday through Friday, with the exception of freeway flyers, the U buses, and some of the school trips, those are all riding on regular schedules, and then the weekend schedules remain unchanged.
Great. And there might be a lot of folks who are watching this who have never ridden the bus, and so they're not even sure how much it costs. So can you go through the different fare options and the cost if somebody would like to ride the bus?
Definitely. There's actually a couple more on the next slide. There's a couple more policies, things we've changed. Darren, if you can go to the next slide, please. So currently our administration building is closed to visitors. However, all of our buses are going through extra cleaning processes, both at night, as well as the drivers have a disinfectant spray bottle that they use throughout their trips, that they can keep the buses clean. There's also been hand sanitizer dispensers and mask dispensers are going to be installed on each bus. So that's been started. It hasn't hit every single bus yet, but to stay up to date with all of the up-to-date COVID policies, please visit our website at ridemcts.com. And then now I'll go through the fares. So
okay,
Dan, if you go, yeah. So we do offer a reduced fare program for anyone who's 65 or older, people with disabilities, as well as those who are under the age of 6, or between the age of 6 and 10 or 11. Anyone who's under 6 rides free. The reduced fare card, which is pictured on the left side of the screen, the one on the upper part of the pyramid, that is what the new reduced fare card looks like. So it works like an M card, where you can actually use that on the fare box. You can put stored value on that card. It'll also have a picture of your face on there, so we know that it's you. So you have to show the driver when you get on the bus. You can still use cash, but you have to still show your reduced fare card or a Medicare card when you do board the bus. And then the next slide, I'll talk about how you get a reduced fare card. So that card allows you to ride for a reduced rate. There's no charge to get the original card, but if you do lose it, there is a $10 replacement fee. There's an application, so we can verify your age or your disability. You can have that application mailed to you, or you can find it on our website. Once you return it to our office, we will, as well as a picture. We need you to send a picture. So either mail or email a picture to us, and then we will create the card for you and send it to you. Once you get the card, you can ride for a reduced rate, which is $1.10, which includes a 90-minute transfer, which means you can ride multiple buses for 90 minutes. You can also get a $2 day pass, which allows you to ride unlimited buses for $2 using stored cash value. You can also pay $11 for a 7-day pass or $32 for a 31-day pass, which is essentially is almost a little bit more than $1 a day if you buy that 31-day pass. And lastly, the Go Pass, which is a Milwaukee County program, which should be the next slide, is available, which also lets you ride for $2 a day. However, there is a $5 fee for this card. You have to be a Milwaukee County resident over the age of 65 and receiving Medicaid or food share benefits. For people who are under 65, you have to be receiving Social Security income through SSI or SSDI, and have a Veterans Disability Designation, and must be receiving Medicaid benefits or food share. To get that card, you have to get that at the COGS building at 12th and Valete. However, the building is currently closed, so they aren't giving out new Go Passes. So for the time being, if you're interested in any reduced fare program, just take advantage of the MCTS reduced fare program that I mentioned in the slide before. This one, however, if you're an existing Go Pass user and the card expires or you lose it, just call the office and they can send you a new one.
Great. So going back to the COVID, it does seem like Milwaukee County Transit System is doing a really great job of keeping everything clean and sanitized. If you could speak maybe just a little bit more on that, just to put people's mind at ease about riding the bus.
Definitely, yeah. Well, especially with only having 10 passengers on at a time, I mean, it allows us to, kind of better track, and there's less people riding, so there's less people touching the surfaces, but the drivers are going through after their routes to disinfect touch surfaces, including like the grab bars, the fare box, anything that's going to be touched by a passenger. So there's constant sanitizing measures being taken throughout the day.
Great. And if you have any questions for any of our guest speakers today, please post them below. And we're going to be watching a short video that was just done by MCTS. It's great. You'll see a snippet of it, but we will put the link in our description so you can see the whole thing. Chris, any comments before we press play?
Yeah, so the video is it's going to be used for training purposes for people who maybe have never used the bus before. It kind of goes through some of the information you need to know before you get out there, as well as kind of a little bit of a behind the scenes of what it's like to be on the bus.
Great. We will get to that right now.
What you need to know to make sure it's an enjoyable experience. Download the free Ride MCTS app on your smartphone, or visit our website, ridemcts.com, to plan your trip, find bus stops, check schedules, and more. You can also call our customer service center or 24/7 automated hotline to get important information. We recommend getting to your bus stop at least 5 minutes before the bus is scheduled to arrive. When you get to the bus stop, you will notice that there is a number on the sign under the picture of the bus. That bus stop ID number is unique to every stop and can be used to tell you when the next bus is scheduled to arrive. The sign also tells you what routes serve the stop and the phone number to call in case you have questions. As the bus is approaching, wait on the sidewalk until the bus comes to a complete stop. The destination sign above the windshield will show the route number or name and where the route ends. Some routes have multiple destinations, so it is important to make sure you are getting on the correct bus. When the front door opens, the bus speaker system will also announce the route to help ensure you are getting on the correct bus.
Route 33, Valete, Juneau, to 60th Street.
If you are bringing a bike, use the rack on the front of the bus by squeezing the handle and lowering the rack until it is level with the ground. Place your bike on the rack with the front tire on the side of the black lever, then use the lever to lock your bike in place. When boarding, pay your fare by tapping your M card or reduced fare card on the orange square on the fare box. If purchasing a day pass, be sure to tell the driver before tapping. You may also show the driver your digital ticket on the Ride MCTS app or insert cash in the fare box. When choosing where to sit, It's best to find a seat towards the front of the bus along the door side to remain in sight of the driver and so you can more easily see your upcoming stop. The driver is your best friend on the bus, so sitting close to the driver is encouraged. However, if someone in a mobility device boards the bus, please move back from the flip-up seats if you're able to. If you are boarding using a mobility device, the driver will kneel the bus, deploy the ramp, then escort you along the ramp to avoid an accident. After paying your fare, proceed to the accessible seating area directly behind the driver. The seats will be flipped up and the driver will secure your mobility device and offer the lap and shoulder belt.
Great. So I know I mentioned we were just going to play a short snippet. There's another maybe 3.5 minutes. So we will put the link in the description. So thank you so much, Chris, for that. What other programs does MCTS offer?
Yeah, so for those people who may or may not, I guess, have ever ridden the bus before, who are curious about riding the bus, we offer a free travel training program. So that's either one-on-one help or it could be groups. So we do go to schools, senior centers, locations like that to kind of do like a bus orientation type program. And that's where we get a lot of our one-on-one referrals. So the one-on-one training consists of it's very individualized because people do learn in many different ways. So it's very customized for the person. The travel trainer will actually go with the person for the duration of their trip until they're able to do it independently. That's the goal, is to get the person to be an independent traveler. It's not only for people with disabilities or seniors, it can be for anyone who's not used the bus before. We have 2 trainers that have worked with people between the ages of 11 and 85. So it's never too late to learn how to ride the bus. So they go over pedestrian safety skills, how to use the app. I didn't mention the app earlier, but we have the app that you can pay your fare with as well, and you can plan your trip with if you have a smartphone. Again, this is a free program, so it's free to do the one-on-one training. It's free to have us do a presentation for your organization. And then we get the opportunity to work with our drivers to teach them ADA sensitivity training, and we do encourage their role in helping people when we have that training with those drivers. So
Great. No, and that's very beneficial just because there are a lot of people out there who have not ridden the bus, and what a great way to empower themselves to be like, I can read the map, I know what bus to take, and I know how much it costs. So that's great. And so, Chris, what any other new initiatives that MCTS is working on currently?
Sure. Another free type of training we provide is it's a wheelchair securement training. So for people who maybe new to using a wheelchair or a scooter and they've never been on the bus before, we offer like more of an open house style presentation or training. So someone can come bring their wheelchair to a location and practice getting on, getting off, being secured by a trained driver, so that their first experience getting on the bus isn't on a live bus that could be a little bit stressful. So that's something we do offer occasionally. So if someone's interested in that, we can definitely make that happen. And then the last thing on the next slide, and it is mentioned in the video, is all of our buses have a bike rack. We can accommodate 2 bikes at a time, including bubbler bikes. I know James will talk about this in a few minutes, but we do also have a bustler pass, which is a combo bubbler pass. So you only have to have 1 card in your wallet, and it's like a sticker that goes in the back. But James will let you know how you can get that card.
Great.
Some other new programs or some other new initiatives being taken on by transit. So the next slide is going to cover MCTS Next. So what's really exciting about this is the transit system really hasn't changed in the past 40 years in terms of where the majority of our routes go. However, Milwaukee County obviously has changed where people are living, where people work, where they want to get to for fun and other activities. So we're kind of doing a system-wide overhaul. So our planning department's done a really great job for the past couple of years determining where these new routes are going to go. It's going to be a faster service, so more routes that are going to be coming within 15 minutes instead of 30 to 40 minutes. Better connections. There might be more transferring, but based on the feedback we got from the outreach that the planning department did over the past couple of years, people are willing to make those transfers if their overall trip is faster. So it might not be a direct route anymore, but it will still get you there in a faster amount of time. We still need to get this approved by the county board, but it should hopefully, if it does get approved, we can get this implemented within 2021 or 2022. Another really exciting project that I'm really excited about on the next slide is our BRT, or Bus Rapid Transit. This is the first system of its kind in Wisconsin. Basically it's going to go from the Milwaukee County grounds by the Children's Hospital in Frederick. It's going to go on Blue Mountain Road and Wisconsin Avenue and end at the new proposed Couture high-rise building on the lakefront where the streetcar is supposed to go. And this is going to have primarily dedicated lanes, so it's going to be very fast. It's going to only stop every mile or so at transfer points and major destinations. It's also going to have signal priority, so it can change or extend green lights so the bus can get through traffic quicker. It's going to have level boarding at platforms similar like a train, so there won't be any ramps. People in wheelchairs can just board at that flat level surface. There are also going to be electric buses. That's a new thing for the system. So, better for the environment and all that sort of stuff too. But so that's cool to get some electric buses in the fleet. It'll also have a self-securement system for people in wheelchairs to allow for that quicker boarding, and so the driver doesn't get out of their seat to secure someone manually with hooks. So that's also very exciting. And lastly, something that's going on right now is called IRA. So for people who are blind or low vision, we're partnering with Milwaukee County Office for Persons with Disabilities. And it's an app, so anyone who's blind or low vision can take advantage of this. It'll help them get to and from their bus stop. You must have a smartphone though, because the IRA agent uses your camera on your phone, and then they give you the step-by-step instructions on how to get to and from your bus stop, and then how to maybe to find a seat and things like that. But the agents have access to our real-time network and where our bus stops are located to assist with that travel. This is free to use for the rest of the year, but we're applying for a grant to continue that for the next 2 years. IRA is also available at the courthouse, the airport, and all the beer gardens. So that's convenient for the rest of the summer. So that's pretty great. And if anyone needs any help learning how to use that app or getting it set up, they can contact us and we can help people get set up with that program.
Great. It sounds like MCTS is quite busy.
Always something going on.
Yes.
Never a dull day.
And is there a program for people who can't take the bus?
Yes. So our paratransit service, Transit Plus, is available for anyone who's unable to use the regular buses. So that's fixed route buses. So how this works is it's a door-to-door shared ride service. You either use one of these vans or a taxi program. And it's not only for medical appointments or for meals. It can be for any sort of social ride, the mall, church, visiting a friend, something like that. And it's available throughout Milwaukee County. Even if our buses don't go there, the vans will go anywhere in Milwaukee County, as well as parts of Waukesha County, where the bus goes out to Brookfield Square. There is an application, so someone has to apply for the program. They have to fill a portion out, their doctor fills out a portion, they send it back to us, and our eligibility assessors will determine if the person's eligible. Normally, the person would actually come in for a face-to-face in-person assessment, but because of COVID, we're doing that all just paper assessments at this point. So if you get approved for the program, you can take a $4 trip each way. You can pay with cash or with these tickets that are shown in the bottom right corner. Those can be ordered through our office. They come in books of 10. And then you also get a Transit Plus card, which is above the ticket. It's blank right now, but it would have your picture on it, and it works just like the reduced fare card or the Go Pass, where you can use it on the bus for $2 a day. And you can load up to $100 in stored value on there. And then if you wanted to take advantage of the taxi, that's only in Milwaukee County. Again, you can use a $4 ticket, which covers the first $14.60 on the meter, and then you have to pay the rest in cash. So that one's a little bit goofy depending on like where you want to go. But either way, if you use the vans, it's $4 regardless of where you're going. The taxis can vary depending on how far you're going. But
great. Yeah. Thank you, Chris, so much talking about MCTS. And I know you talked a little bit about your collaboration with Bubbler Bike. So we're going to now talk to James. We'd love if you could stick around. We're all going to get together at the end and take questions. But thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate everything you guys do for the city and the county.
Always.
Well, hello, James. How are you?
Hello, Amber. Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm excited to have next James Davies with us, who once again is the executive director of Bubbler Bikes. Bubbler Bikes, of course, you've probably seen them around the city and the county. They're those beautiful blue bikes that people are riding around on. So James, can you tell us a little bit about what is a bike share?
Sure. So first, Bubbler is Greater Milwaukee area's local. We're a nonprofit bike share operator. We've been around since 2012. We started with one station only down at Discovery World, and today we have 81 stations across West Allis, Wauwatosa, and Milwaukee. All the equipment we buy, like the bikes and the stations, are made by B-Cycle, which is owned by Trek. So that's also a Wisconsin-based business. But so bike share is designed to be a short-term automated point-to-point bicycle-based transit system. So that's a lot.
Okay.
But so short-term, bike share generally is used for shorter trips, usually by someone who has a destination in mind. Our average trip length is right around 30 minutes. Obviously, it varies by pass types, especially on the weekend. We frequently have people taking longer trips that are going around by the lake. But on average, automated. So they did try a couple bike share type systems in the 60s that were not automated, and all of the bikes ended up gone. So having the kiosk that ties the bike to your credit card helps us keep track of the bikes so that they stay with us, and makes it feasible from our end financially that each kiosk doesn't have a person there checking the bikes out for you. Then point to point. So Bubbler is a dock-based system, so the bikes have to start and end at a station. You can take them to any other station in the system, so you could take one from Discovery World out to 6 Points in West Dallas if you wanted to, but they start at a station and they end at a station. So that's what bike share is in a nutshell.
And can you also remind our audience, when did Bubbler Bikes officially start in Milwaukee?
So in 2012 was our first year, or 2013.
Okay.
The corporation was formed, the nonprofit was formed in 2012. The first station installed in 2013.
Okay, great. So it's been around for a little bit. So this is good if you have not heard of Bubbler Bikes. And I always tell people I don't know how to ride a bike, so I probably will not be using Bubbler Bikes, but eventually down the road.
Not yet.
Somebody's going to teach me.
We just had a learn to ride class actually this last weekend for people. So we try to do those every so often. We usually partner with the Bike Fed on those.
Okay. But invite me next time, please.
Next time I will.
Otherwise, my 5-year-old niece said she will offer to teach me. So what about, you kind of did talk about the docking stations, but what about dockless bikes and scooters? Aren't they better and easier for people to use?
So they can be easier to return because you can just leave them wherever you want. But that same element can make it harder to find them. Unless there's really saturating the landscape. And then if they are, like I think Austin had over 26,000 a couple summers ago before COVID, and they were running into all sorts of problems with them blocking the sidewalks, making it very difficult for people in wheelchairs to get past and things like that. There's also some question about how long some of these companies will be around for. In 2019, even before COVID, Lime, for example, lost $300 million. So we're a nonprofit. So we're not trying to make money, but we are trying to break even. But so we have not lost $300 million. So
that's good. That's a plus. I notice when I'm driving around city and county Milwaukee, Bubbler stations are almost everywhere, which I think is good. It's accessible for everybody. So how would I go about actually using a Bubbler bike?
So like MCTS, we do have quite a few different options for folks. But if you want to, you can just walk right up to the kiosk and swipe it walks you through it. But basically swipe your credit card and get a bike and go. And then it's 25 cents per minute if you're doing it that way. We also have an app. It's the B-Cycle app. Link is on your screen. But we also have lots of other options. So we've got a 24-hour pass that actually you can take the bike and just take it for 24 hours if you want to. You can also return it to a station and take it back out, and it's $24 for 24 hours. So we did sort of design that more with a tourist in mind, someone who's here, just wants to go ride around by the lake, probably someone who's not really quite fitting that traditional bike share user definition that we talked about earlier. We also have a weekender, which is 72 hours, and each trip is limited to 2 hours, or there's additional fees. And then we've got a 30-day pass and an annual pass that both give you unlimited 60-minute trips within that pass period. And then, like Chris talked a little bit, our annual pass comes in 2 flavors, if you will. We've just got a regular fob that you can go right to the dock and check out a bike, or we have the sticker that Chris showed you, but it goes right on your M card, and then it's one card. You have to apply the sticker, but once it's done, you've got one card, and we worked closely with MCTS on designing it, so it still has all the information you need for both systems, and that's very cool because LA also has a fully integrated system, and it cost them more than $1 million to like integrate the networks, and so we in Milwaukee, being frugal, did it with a sticker, and it cost us, I think, $5 to develop instead of $1 million. So
that definitely saves money. Absolutely.
That's part of why we didn't. We're not 300 million in the hole right now.
Another thing too that people should keep in mind about bubbler bikes or just biking in general is, yeah, it could get you to point A from point B, but it's also really good for your health. So if on the days that maybe you don't want to take the bus for whatever reason, definitely, considering bubbler bikes as an option. And James, if you could talk a little bit about the bikes that Bubbler will be adding. I think you have a couple different versions.
Yeah, one other pass type that I want to mention is our
I'm sorry.
access. No, that's fine. Is our access pass. So we do have. It's normally $8 for pretty much anyone who's income qualified, similar to some MCTS passes. But we don't want to be in the business of qualifying you. So if you are on SSI or Medicaid or Medicare, food share, or live in Hackham, pretty much anything, you can get it. Normally, it's an $8 annual pass, but this year Anthem is actually underwriting that final $8. So right now they're free.
Okay.
So
People should definitely check out is it that information on the app or your website?
Right on our website. It's on the Join
Beautiful.
Now. You can get information about it to sign up for that. But so yeah, that's definitely a great opportunity this year. But so other types of bikes in our fleet. So we do have some accessible bikes in our fleet. We've got some side-by-side tandem bikes and some upright tricycles to try to expand the accessibility of our system. If you want to make sure that there's one in a specific place, you can call or text our customer service number at 414-931-1121, and you can ask where they are. Usually we try to balance them back to Discovery World or Hart Park in Wauwatosa, sort of two good places for riding around. But if you want to check and say, hey, I just want to make sure there's one here, you can give us a call. We can also then lock it down for you so that someone else doesn't grab it. So that's something that we have. And then also next year, we're going to be adding e-bikes. So they're electric pedal assist bikes to the system. There's been lots of other bikes. Madison has converted their fleet entirely over to electric, and they just see a lot more usage. But it also does expand who can use the bikes. Maybe some of those hills are getting harder for you than they used to be. Things like that. Those e-bikes can help and make sure that you can get up those hills and get where you need to go.
Great. And you said that will be for next year, 2021?
Yep. Okay. And that's also the city of Milwaukee is adding 26 more stations next year. And through that, and there's a link with where those stations will be going in the description section. But with those new stations, they're going to be getting e-bikes.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's congratulations, definitely. And that also helps the community because now they'll be more accessible. So James, if you had a magic 8-ball, what does the future hold for Bubbler bikes?
Well, so we're pretty confident. I don't need a magic 8-ball for those next 26 stations, we hope. But we do hope to continue expanding throughout Milwaukee County. Obviously, adding the e-bikes is a big deal, and we just part of those 26 stations will hopefully be a new these 3.0 kiosks. We're using the first version of kiosks, and the 3.0 kiosks. So if you've seen them, they're these big blue things. They're not huge, but they take up a decent amount of space, which has some limitations on where we can put them. The 3.0 kiosks each dock is completely self-contained. So you could just put one or two docks here, one or two docks there. So our real hope is to use those to really get further out into all of the neighborhoods, because instead of trying to find a spot where it makes sense to have a huge station, you could put two on this corner, two on the next corner, two on the next corner. And so then in a lot of ways, that's sort of giving you the best of both worlds of sort of the docked and the dockless system. You can have these just individual docks, a couple here scattered throughout an area, or imagine like a business district like Brady Street or Uptown Crossing. You could just have a couple on every corner, and no matter what store you're going to, there's a station that you can easily just dock your bike into. And if you come out and your bike's gone, there's probably another bike half a block away. So
correct.
But another thing that you don't need an 8-ball for is that on Saturday, August 22nd, from 5 to 9 is our third annual Bubbler Bash. This year, due to COVID, we're going digital, but it's a free concert and fundraiser. So there will be a lot of great bands, and we'll be talking about some other exciting things for Bubbler.
Great. And that's just another way I think people could check out Bubbler bikes. If you have yet to rent one or you didn't know about Bubbler bikes, I definitely encourage you to check out that website and all the other websites that were shared not only by Chris but also James. And I do have to say I love the partnership between you and MCTS. I think it just makes sense. And
The only thing I don't like about the partnership is having to go after them on these presentations, because MCTS always has fantastic PowerPoints. They're never boring. They're always informative. And I'm always like, ah.
Yours was good, James. Yours was good. But I definitely, encourage you guys to look into Bubbler Bikes, and especially those programs that even Anthem may cover that cost. All that stuff is on your website. So, James, thank you so much. I'm going to move on to Becky, but if you could hang around, we're all going to come together at the end. So, hello, Becky.
Hello, Amber.
So next, we're going to be chatting with Becky Schmidt, who works with Milwaukee County Department on Aging. And I want to say last but not least, we always save the best for last, no offense against the men. So if you could tell us a little bit about the transportation offerings through MCDA and included anything else that you would like to talk about for resources.
Yeah, for sure. So I do work for the Department on Aging, and we're the government unit that serves anybody 60 and over. And so we have a wide range of services that serve older adults, everything from wellness programs and dining, Meals on Wheels, dementia care. But of course, today we're here to talk about transportation. So if you contact our office, we can connect you with a variety of transportation options. For example, we have a fabulous partner, Era Senior Network, that has neighborhood volunteers that provide rides. But probably our primary that I'll talk just a little bit more today about is MCDA Transit. And they are transit vans that drive older adults. In some ways, people get them confused with Transit Plus that Chris mentioned. They're going to look similar on the road. But MCDA Transit is there to take you on rides either to a doctor, a medical or a dental appointment, also to the grocery store, and for our senior dining program. So there's no income eligibility for this. We serve older adults, so this is just going to be based on age and the need to have this transportation service.
Great. And some folks who are on here might not be aware that this was even available through Milwaukee County Department on Aging. Is there a cost?
Yeah, so just as it lists on the slide there is a cost of $3 each way if you're going to use it for medical or dental, but everybody likes the word free. Rides for groceries and senior dining are actually free. So for example, pre-COVID, when we were in our normal world, you could take our van for free and go to our senior dining sites, the 27 senior dining sites, and grab lunch and get a ride home for free. So there's a cost for medical, but actually free for dining and grocery.
Okay, that's very nice. And you kind of mentioned a little bit pre-COVID and how that world looked. Are the vans still running now during the epidemic?
Yeah, so just like everybody's world, we had to quickly pivot all of our Department on Aging services. And of course, older adults are one of the most vulnerable populations to this epidemic that we're all facing together. So along with our other services, we transition transportation. It is still running. You're still able to get all of the same services, but the vans are taking extreme precautions and they're limiting the number of riders on each van, they're disinfecting, and there's a lot more like additional kind of behind the scenes work. But to the customer, it's gonna look the same. You're still gonna get those services that you need. One neat thing that changed when our senior dining sites had to close for the dining in and they went to a curbside model, the vans that used to drive people there are actually now delivering lunches to folks. So if you're registered with us on this van, you could also get lunch delivered every day to you.
Very nice, which people might not realize there were meal programs. So definitely going on to the Milwaukee County Department on Aging website will give you information on everything that they're doing. And then lastly, Becky, how would somebody register to receive a ride through the van for the van?
Yeah, so thank you for putting up the slide. So you would call the Aging Resource Center And just to back up a little bit, that Aging Resource Center is meant to be a one-stop shop for anybody 16 over, as well as their family and caregivers, where you can turn for help and assistance to sign up for programs and services. So to register, you would call our Aging Resource Center at 414-289-6874. You can get more details on our website, but to register, you would call us. And before I say goodbye, I just need to give a shout out to Amber. She is actually Commissioner Miller. We have a commission on aging, and Amber has given her time and leadership to be one of our commissioners. So I thank her very much for having us today, for hosting, and also for giving her time really to lead the way in initiatives that are being done for older adults in Milwaukee County.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that. And the Milwaukee County Department on Aging, ADRC throughout the whole state, there's so many resources out there that a lot of people don't know about. So it's like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's the reason why the Ride, Roll, and Stroll, and we'll bring James and Chris back in. I think it's just so important that there are resources out there to get to where you need to go and get to where you need to go safely. So whether it's through Milwaukee County Department on Aging, whether it's Bubbler Bikes or Milwaukee County Transit System, the resources are out there. And I mentioned to Chris before, I have yet to ride the Milwaukee County Transit System because I was born and raised in Racine, so I know how to ride the bus in Racine, but I'm like, I need that class. I don't know where I'm going, and then I'm going to learn to ride a bike, so I'm going to work on that soon. So Becky, James, and Chris, do you have any final comments or anything else that you would like to say before we wrap up?
Just want to say thanks again, and I mean, for any of the information I went over, it's all on our website. The majority is on ridemcts.com. There's all of our contact information, as well as details on all the programs and fairs that I went over, as well as our app.
Absolutely. James, any final comments?
If you can, on our website, you can sign up for our newsletter, and then when we have Learn to Ride classes and things like that, you'll hear about them.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll have to do a live video of Amber riding a bike.
And MCTS also has a great newsletter, the Rider Insider, right, Chris?
Thank you. Yes, that was my guess. Thanks, James.
The Rider, and so newsletters, definitely.
Well, and luckily, a lot of the Bubbler stations are co-located near a lot of our bus stops, so we can get you to ride a bike and then get on a bus and you're good to go.
Absolutely.
80% of our stations are co-located with MCTS stops.
Wow, very strategic. And Becky, any final comments?
I would just, it's lovely to have such wonderful partners. I would encourage people to step out and check out websites, call and reach out to the Aging Resource Center. There is, during COVID, we're all very isolated and I think struggling, and there are wonderful programs in our community. Very proud to work here in Milwaukee. So definitely reach just a little outside your comfort zone and learn about what's going on in our county.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today and ensuring that people are getting information and resources that maybe they didn't know about. So I appreciate you guys taking your time out today. I really do. And if you're happening to watch this live, or if you're watching it during the replay, feel free to pass this video along to any of your friends or family. You can tag them in it or you can share it on your page. The more information that we could share with our community, friends, and family, the more information and resources they have to ensure they can get to and from where they need to be in a safe manner. So thank you guys so much. And lastly, join us this Thursday at 11 a.m. for our Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin, where I talk with Ann Katz, who is the Executive Director of Arts Wisconsin. We're going to talk a little bit about how the livable communities and the arts kind of intertwines, and we'll be taking live questions. So thank you guys so much for joining us again, and we will see you on Thursday. Take care.